We welcome you this morning to the meeting of the Sports Authority for the Metropolitan Nashville. We have a quorum. We have really good attendance this morning, and we welcome you that are in the audience this morning for being with us as we talk about a very important matter. The first item on our agenda is for each of us on the commission to read the Metro Code, and so we'll rather than have Margaret read it up there, we're going to let you read it, so we'll take a minute for you to do that. Okay, thank you. And we're delighted this morning to have our new executive director with us for his first meeting with us. He actually begins work on May the 1st, so don't ask him to do anything hard before that date. No, he's been reading and meeting with and being with some of the people. He and I have met with both the representatives from the Bridgestone Arena and also from LP Field, and had a good meeting, and be sure that the relationships continue as they have in the past with good working togetherness. And Toby Compton, and I'm not going to go through his resume this morning because you have seen it and you know his qualifications. He's had many years of experience with his work with the mayor's office, with the state of Tennessee, and then a number of other important positions in our community. Toby will bring a lot of experience and leadership qualities to this organization. Toby, would you like to say something to this group? And there may be two or three you haven't met that you can meet after the meeting.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Chairman. Obviously, Toby Compton, it's good to be with you, and I'm looking forward to working with each one of you and establishing a relationship with you. We have met with smaller groups. Commissioner Alexander led a great group, and we kind of went through some process. There's others of you that I don't know, and I look forward to getting with each of you. But yeah, I start May 1st. Last night was my last evening with the state, and I came this morning to kind of learn and observe, and I've met with Norma, and she's doing a great job, and I just look forward to jumping in next week and really kind of digging in. So thank you all. Thank
you, Toby, and I want to again thank Alfonso and his committee who went through the search process and spent many, many hours. If you didn't serve on it, you don't know how many hours that he and his committee spent. Anything you'd like to say about the process?
Well, I think we had a great team that worked well together, and that Metro Human Resources did a great job at helping facilitate the process, and I'm pleased with the outcome.
Great. Well, welcome, Toby. Go to work now. Okay, our meeting.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Sure.
If it's all right, just wanted to also let the board know, I found out through Norma that Monica had a baby boy. His name is Clayton, and I believe they're both home at this point and doing okay. So just, I know everyone is anxious to hear about Monica too. So.
Excellent.
During the search process, during all that period of time, we'd call every day and say, "Are you at work or are you at the hospital?" So we congratulate Monica. This morning we have our major item on the agenda, and the purpose of this meeting is to talk about the arena renovations. You have received ahead of time a detail of what's going to be taking place, but this morning we're going to have Sean introduce how we're going to have presentation to this committee, and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions and so forth, and then at the end we'll have a resolution for approval. Sean?
Good morning, Toby. From now on, you gotta lower the microphone, okay? Between you and Ben, oh my gosh, I was falling. Good morning, thanks for coming out. I appreciate you accommodating the schedule to review the plans and ask any questions you may have from your own review or after the presentation today. Fortunately for you, this will be one of the presentations I speak the least in, but I think it's worth noting we ended our home schedule just the other night. It wasn't the season that we wanted when we started playing after the lockout, but every once in a while I think it's fair to say you might miss the playoffs twice every 10 years, and that's where we're sitting right now. We're pretty excited about what has occurred though because of all the injuries. We've had a lot of young guys playing. We had a major trade right at the trade deadline where we picked up one of the highest touted prospects in the entire NHL, and that's Forsberg, number 9. If you haven't watched him tonight yet, tune in tonight against the Red Wings. He's fun to watch. He's a scorer. He's what we've been missing for a long time, but he's going to play valuable minutes for us for years and years to come. Then you have a lot of other young guys playing a lot of good time. So next year is going to be a better year. There's no doubt about it. We have assurances from our coach and GM that we'll be back where we belong in the playoffs next year. So it was a great year. Summed up very well this morning in an editorial that I was accused of writing. I wish I had that kind of power, but it's absolutely a great editorial. And it really talks about our market. And I know just a few years ago when this board got very involved in saving the team, this market was in question. Was it a hockey market? Could it be a hockey market? And I think they solidified it this morning saying it is a hockey market. You look at the season that we had this year on the ice, that type of year normally follows a lot of empty seats, but it's just the opposite. We had 20 out of the 24 games sold out. Of the 4 games that didn't, I think we were probably 300 or 400 away towards a sellout on each one of those. So it was really, really a great year. So thank you all for tolerating the lockout and working with us to get through it. Most importantly, what we're excited about is this new renovation. Every renovation that we've talked about to date has always been somewhat egocentric within the building, giving us the ability to grow our events, grow our fans, you know, really to help generate the economic impact that we do when we do more and more events with more and more people. This one's a little bit different. It's using our building as the conduit to connect the new campus that you're going to hear more about to the excitement of Broadway and making sure the two flow well together. And really, you should look at this as a community-wide renovation. With that, you know, what's going to happen on the external side of our building and repurposing what our building is, we're building out some soft shell space for, you know, future build out of retail, fun bar space, you know, a team store, retail shop, a restaurant to connect Fifth Avenue. The best part about that is it'll be a private investment to build those out. We're delivering a soft shell or warm shell to that, but again, a private enterprise will build that out. So again, it continues that spirit that I think we've built over the past few years of a public-private partnership, creating something a little bit bigger than we first imagined. So what I'd like to do is introduce Adam Stover, who you met before. He's with Populous. He's going to do most of the presentation. Gary Hawkins is here as well from Hawkins & Hawkins Associates. Is that correct? I was close. I know there are a bunch of Hawkins there. But he's going to try to give an overview of the overall campus and how it's going to be impacted and how the space will be used. We also have Larry Etma and Patrick Holcomb from, I don't even know where they're from actually, but Metro Convention Center Authority, who have been charged with building, you know, that giant next door, but then also are overseeing our renovations, and they can answer any questions you have about the process, construction, and Rich Riebling is here as well, and he can talk to anything you need to know about financing. So any questions you have during the presentation, don't hesitate to interrupt, but I think Adam will probably answer most of them, right? Or I hope. So, thanks, Adam.
Yeah, and my hope is just to kind of give you, and I'm going to look at, I think it's kind of, you guys are looking at this screen, and we're all looking at this screen, so I'll probably speak to this screen for your guys' benefit. But what I want to do is just kind of hit the bigger points of what we're doing with the allocated budget, where we're headed, the impact we're looking to make, and how we're going to do that. And then Gary will talk, like Sean said, and then I'd like to leave a lot of time just to, you know, for open discussion about what we're doing, why we did it, and how we're moving forward. So this first slide, we'll go through it quickly, but what it really shows is the image on the left is the existing floor plan. So you see how we've really got a broken up kind of entry floor plate. And so that was one of the really big drivers that we wanted to impact, was really create more of a destination, more of a communal kind of congregation experience. The other facet that we really looked at is just to the left of that, which is current parking area and storage. And, you know, how can we take that, what we see as underutilized space, and really, you know, let it become a huge revenue generator for the arena, or the Bridgestone Arena in the city, but then also help to impact and, you know, add to that kind of experience that we see happening at the plaza. The image on the right just shows kind of the current transformation between the two, you know, current and future. So this breakdown, I was just trying to see how many dots I could get on one page, but I think I was successful. But as we go through, and I'll use the pointer on this backside, so I apologize. But really breaking it down, the main thing is, you know, really the focus on this plaza, and you'll see an image of the plaza here in a minute. But the plaza does a handful of different things. It'll become one of the new front doors of the arena, the second front door of our arena. It also serves as a huge impactor for what's going on across the street. One of the things as we began this discussion and started to learn about the outdoor plaza at the convention center was that there was thoughts about, having concerts and other events there. So what we want to be able to, we want to be able to use this space to help, impact that. So there's a place for people to hang out. We're looking at, all the railings as you approach it from both directions. All have drink rails, opportunities for seating, so people can be seating, hanging out, enjoying the day, but also, if there's an event going on across the street, they've got a prime viewing spot for that as well. A couple other things is we're trying to maximize, a variety of different levels. You'll see in the image, one of the things we're doing with this zone is creating an opportunity for a small concert stage. So, on a game night or concert night, as people are walking up the, to the arena, there's something going on. There's a second kind of event or activity taking place. Two other of the big moves here at the plaza are the introduction of a new retail store. That was one big thing that we've pushed forward and wanted to focus on, because the current year-round retail store is embedded into the arena. And so that was one of the things, is how can we bring some life to this plaza through retail and other boutique shopping opportunities and restaurant opportunities. So bringing the retail over just made a lot of sense, and now has a direct connect and more of a public tie-in. The second one is this other space here that we're calling a potential future restaurant or pub space. It's got some outdoor terrace seating available to it, and then it has direct views to the plaza. So the thought is that now that would become a nano wall, so it would be operable glass, so we could open that entire space out to the plaza and really elongate the plaza experience. You see this void here in the middle, that's a current generator room. And one of the things that we've really been working hard to do is find ways to create these environments, create these connections to these spaces without touching or minimally touching that generator. We've studied a lot of opportunities to move it completely move it out of the way and pick up that floor plate, but the cost driver and the impact of doing that has been so heavy that we're trying to leave it in its current position. And then we hop over to Fifth Avenue. And really, we've got a lot of big plays occurring here, from the video boards at the end of the barrel and at the corner, that are really going to impact and transform this district. But then also the introduction of the glass and graphics that will run across here, as well as integrated LED lighting to create a variety of moods and fan experiences. With that, so if we start jumping to the images, I think the images do the rest of really portray these moves. This starts to show how open that plaza now becomes. So we have kind of two stairways. We've got the main entry here, which is running alongside or parallel to the new retail and pubs for future restaurant space. And then we've got a secondary stair that wraps, just around or runs parallel to the existing of the building. And then woven into that is our ramp that kind of wraps around what we're saying is another outdoor kind of terrace area, but also we're preparing it for future concerts, for other events, maybe after a game, commentators are out there interviewing players, things like that, to really bring people to this destination. The other big move is the integrated 16:9 video board. So that video board will be approximately 16 by 28 feet. So it will be a huge impact. I think it's going to be a great connector between that and the convention center. I had the opportunity to be in the convention center just to see, how awesome that's going to be from their perspective, looking out onto the new plaza and the new video board opportunity. The second video board opportunity is at the corner. It runs approximately 15 feet in either direction. It is more of a static, I'll go to the next image here. In the essence that just because of codes and its position in the building, those images will need to, remain static for approximately 8 seconds. So it won't be live to the capacity that this one will be, but it'll tell a very dramatic story. And then to, offset the movement that's here, we're looking at for the next 130 feet running along the side of Fifth. is a graphic band that is going to tell the story not only of hockey, but country music and really everything that's Nashville. The other big play on this wall, looking to really make an impact and really create a story that's ever changing that will occur here, and then also in this back wall where you see the Predator logo. We're integrating a lot of color changing and optical LED lights that will wash that wall and the back wall both up and down. So they'll have the opportunity integrated into the LED features as well as the building proper to be able to change color tones, to change movements, depending on the event that's taking place or a significant thing within that city block. And then, one item that's really going to create, I think, a beautiful connection, one thing that we've really been, looking for in this whole facade for a few years now is, how can we bring some of that inside out? When you're walking on this wall, there's really no connection into the concourse. That's really driving what's going on inside with what's happening outside. So what you see down here in the end, some of the previous image, is the opportunity for a future restaurant, but more importantly is we're integrating over 30 feet of glazing. And that glazing now will give you a view through that space and directly into the concourse. So we're now able to connect, both experiences at one time, which is something we've never been able to do. And it's really going to change how I think you perceive Fifth Avenue as you're walking down it. One other item, back here where you see the logo, we're integrating above the retail and restaurant fit out is a metal, you see here as a moving metal panel that will have integrated graphics on it, but it will really tell a beautiful and interesting story. Just with a tonal material. So we wanted something that would complement what's going on with the big, graphic moves at the corner and the video boards, bring a presence to it, but wouldn't overpower them. These next few slides really, that's the improvements in a nutshell. The next couple pages, and then I think what would be best is to have you kind of talk about how what we're doing from the exterior perspective ties into everything else that's being done on the streets and in the convention center, and how we made sure those two complemented each other. These next couple pages, I don't spend much time on them now. We can come back to them if needed, but this really breaks down who the project team is that's tackling this effort, the phases that we just really spoke about, and then kind of the duration for how we're getting there. So I've also brought with me today the current 50% drawing package, and specs. If we want to get any of that, we have it at our disposal. Gary, do you want to spend a few minutes?
Well, thank you all for hearing us today and giving us a chance to talk about one of the most exciting things, I think. Since I've been here, 1986, this area has changed a little bit. You guys know that. So we're excited to talk a little about what those changes are, not only with this building, this facility. Now, the back door is one of the most important front doors that you could imagine, but also some of the surrounding public changes, improvements that have been envisioned. So if you'll bear with me, Margaret, I hope I'm not blocking your view.
No, thanks.
This area in aerial looks a whole lot different than it did in 1996 when this facility was opened, and it's changing and going to change continually. Watch fast, because the fact that now the Bridgestone and the MCC and the hotel and the Country Music Hall of Fame are sort of being all improved, we sense a shift to the south of Broadway, almost from now the core of downtown, particularly for the entertainment district. So if you look at this area outlined in red, that area is what we've been calling Sobro, south of Broadway. From a planning perspective, that area is going to be making some significant changes in the foreseeable future. And we happen to be with the Bridgestone sitting almost at ground zero for all those changes and those drivers. And this photograph, in 1996, when Bridgestone was built, you know, there was no Gateway Bridge. We had the Shelby Street Bridge. We had limited improvements in this area. So I'm really excited to talk about what's happening and will continue to happen in the next few years for this project. Well, that's one of the biggest moves right there. The neighborhood really is changing. It has changed with the MCC opening up next month. This is going to be an extraordinary change. But also, the Korean Veterans Boulevard was just opened this month. Is changing all the circulation patterns around how people are going to enter into the city, into the south of Broadway area, the neighborhood around the Bridgestone Arena. This is a huge mover. The fact that we have hotels in the area that are going to be popping up like popcorn, this is changing, and it's going to change the face of Nashville that we can't recognize today. It's going to be here. So this happens to be the Bridgestone neighbor directly across the street. Because of the design of the building, the MCC building, that's their north facade, which has almost all of the glass of the building. It's an environmentally responsible way to build a building, but it also happens to look at our Bridgestone facility in a way that has never been looked at before. There used to be surface parking lots back there, you recall that. And so what this building looks like, how it receives visitors, has to be re-evaluated, and that's what the moves that Adam's been talking about, kind of a brand new plaza experience, receiving visitors not only as they walk from the hotels, looking, this is Fifth Avenue heading to the north toward Broadway, new hotel, the Country Music Hall of Fame, getting improvements all woven together. People will be parking in this parking garage, 1,800 parking spaces or so in that parking garage, and they'll be coming to this facility. So there'll be big crowd movements that need to be able to receive that in a safe way. Fifth Avenue is going to change. You see the construction happening right now, the Omni Hotel, 800 rooms, and the Country Music Hall of Fame, literally woven together. You'll be able to enter lobbies and go in either direction. There's going to be a very high-end steakhouse, new bars along Fifth Avenue that are part of that complex. Show print will be in there. Imagine the visitors that are going to be walking along Fifth Avenue and will see this facility at street level or passing by in their car for the very first time in a brand new way. So the spruce up is probably called for. And what we're excited about is Fifth Avenue is going to become a completely new experience. It's a corridor now that's a quiet street. It's going to become a two-way street, but it's also going to change in some other significant ways. This is an early view of those changes. It's going to be a reinvention of a street. We call it a shared space. So instead of asphalt, it's a paved concrete with concrete banding, paved blocks, concrete blocks, brick paving. A lot of the moves that are shown here sort of reflect the idea of a musical instrument, which is what the convention center was developed like. So if you look at this from an aerial view, it almost looks like a fretted instrument. Those big round bollards that are there are actually designed around what a tailpiece of an acoustic guitar where the strings go into the guitar with kind of pegs. They're like 3-foot diameter pegs, but they're mimicking design ideas that are part of a musical themed street. And the street doesn't have curbs, gutters. Essentially, automobiles and people are moving along this shared space all together. It's at the same elevation of the sidewalk. So when you drive or walk in this space, you're taking care to be, it's called a pedestrian table. Cars kind of bump up on either end and become part of a big plaza, two-way plaza. There's a lay-by lane right here where you can pick up friends and family or drop off folks that are going to the convention. And this is all two-way, cars coming this direction and this direction. So it's reinventing a street. This has been done a few places in the United States, in Europe, a lot of places. So it's going to be very exciting. The lighting also in this part of the Fifth Avenue is going to be more theatrical lighting. So this street will be closed periodically, and there'll be big parties in the street. The convention will spill out into that space, and the Bridgestone will be part of that campus by virtue of proximity.
Excuse me. What block does that picture show?
That's a great question. This is from Korean Veterans Boulevard to Demumbrian.
Okay. Is that the only space that
Great segue.
Okay.
So that space is being designed very particularly for the thousands of visitors that'll be moving in this direction across the street. So
The Omni Hotel is on our left.
yes, Omni Hotel is just off screen right there.
Right.
This is the Country Music Hall of Fame, and this is the street scape where they're all knitted together. That's where the bars, restaurants will all be occurring along that facade. And of course, this is the MCC on the left-hand side of the screen, where people will be coming predominantly from Fifth Avenue at, I guess, the main entrance into most of those spaces will be Fifth Avenue at the Demumbrian. So there'll be a lot of people moving from up at this corner right across the street from this facility.
Would there be a passageway between the center and Broadway? You know, like through the building, through this building, so that, you know, like when they come in the back door, which is the new second front door, can they come through, whether it's bad or whatever, and come out on Broadway?
Underground? No. There's no,
Either way.
no plan. You would cross the street like you and I would cross the street today from across Demumbrian.
Actually, I mean, on that,
Yes.
once the restaurant on Fifth Avenue is open, that, as Adam said, connects Fifth Avenue to the concourse. There'll be times where we enter people through the plaza on the south side, through the building into that restaurant, and then out towards Broadway to take care of that. So part of that plan was making it open to the concourse, open to the street, is to take care of just that exact thing. Not just on our events, but on big convention events, especially when the weather's a little bit worse.
So those are great questions. So imagine this is happening between Korean Veterans Boulevard, under construction right now, this segment, Korean Veterans Boulevard up to Demumbrian. But the gestures that are happening here are also planned. This is looking from Broadway now. This view is looking from Broadway. So Broadway's up here. A lot of these same gestures all the way down to the intersection right there is Demumbrian in this slide. So this sort of fretted instrument idea is happening in the street between the existing curbs and gutters all along Fifth Avenue up to Broadway now. So that's planned to start in July. So that's actually going to happen. So this will be a little bit different in that we won't be raising the pedestrian table up there. This will be at street grade, but the same concrete paver banding, the same concrete streets, the same vocabulary, design vocabulary that we're using and more intensely on the previous slide will be coming up this way. And of course, the design that's being improved on Bridgestone, which will have the restaurant, a future restaurant along Fifth Avenue, will really benefit from those movements. So that's really exciting to me, because people will be coming from the hotels and the convention center, walking on this corridor beside the Bridgestone in a new way, and very exciting to the Bridgestone to be able to capture some of that energy in a future restaurant space as well.
Will the street be two-way in that block
It will
as
be
well?
two-way as well. That's as planned. I think there's been a lot of dialogue about changing street directions, and two-way streets in this part of town is an important part of that. So that's just Fifth Avenue. So we got Korean Veterans Boulevard, the hotels, all that, Fifth Avenue, but there's been an entire look at what happens next all around this neighborhood. And that's the South of Broadway Master Plan, which just been released. Very exciting, virtually year-long process of getting under the skin, looking under the hood, and what should happen, how do we make that, how do we facilitate that. Those planning recommendations forecasts continue to change in the neighborhood. to say the least. And that's going to be exciting for this facility as well as all the facilities that are in the neighborhood. One of those recommendations, now the Hall of Fame Park, if you look at it when it was built compared to what's around it now, it's like, oh boy, this is going to be one of the most important park spaces that the city's got. It's the front door of all these new improved facilities. So there is a proposed enhancement of the park to sort of go along with these other aspects that are being upgraded. And so that's sort of in the works. There's not been anything finalized about that to my knowledge, but we've done some early design to see what would you spruce up to make it receive all these people and be able to be a really exciting park space to fit in with the rest of these really nice gestures. And finally, if that isn't enough, there is the new AMP. Everybody sort of, that's new vocabulary we all have to learn. The bus rapid transit system that is planned to go from far west end all the way to East Nashville will literally come by the 5th and Broadway entrance into this facility. There will be, this is not sort of pie in the sky. The second design aspects of identifying routes, financial issues of what would this cost, how's the federal government going to help us, those design steps have been made. So now it's a matter of the next phase of the work, which is, again, iterative and more defining. But we know if it happens, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen to that corner right there, and that's where this building is. So what does that mean? That means some sort of a station right in that area, in the middle of Broadway, to let people off from East Nashville and West Nashville who want to come to this facility or the honky tonk district or the convention center. They'll be riding, not driving their cars, and using the facility much like this that's shown. This depicts, I think, something at Centennial Park area with the tram, the train, the bus rapid transit. It's not on a rail, a fixed rail, it's a rubber powered vehicle, but the stations are really very handsome. This is just a concept, but it's, if it happens, it's very, very exciting for this facility, to say the least. So, public improvements that are in the pipeline, some are beyond the pipeline, they're actually constructed or in construction right now. The facade improvements for this building, the Korean Veterans Boulevard and the MCC opening up within a month of each other. The new Omni Hotel, which will be bringing guests from all over the world into the facility. The expansion of the Country Music Hall of Fame that integrates into that. 5th Avenue South, Broadway all the way down to Korean Veterans Boulevard, huge move, and Hall of Fame park improvements, not to mention the bus rapid transit system. So the neighborhood is changing, and it's exciting to be part of that. So Adam and I, anyone else, would be happy to answer any questions you have about some of these designs.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully you got a chance now to understand that, from the micro to the macro of what we're doing. What's encouraging for us or exciting about it is the planned connectivity. In a lot of cities, we did this in Tampa, the convention center was about 800 feet from our doors off of a plaza. In an ad hoc fashion, we built some things to try to connect it. We know what we did for the area, we know what it did for our business, what it did for the convention business. With this project, it's a little bit more exciting because it's planned to connect not just our two entities, but really Broadway right on through to KBB. So if you have any questions or concerns or input, we'd love to hear it right now, answer anything you have.
The projects that are underway, can you give me a sense of, remind me of the timing, the elapsed time for the conclusion of each of these?
Yeah, I'll start with ours. The plaza and the shell spaces being built out on the plaza, and the video enhancements and brightening up the building and cleaning up what I call the concrete canyon of 5th Avenue should all be done by October of this year. So right in time with the Omni opening, hockey season starting, the real convention center business going. The restaurant on 5th Avenue, from our standpoint, will probably follow about 6 months later. The goal is to make it in time for the women's Final Four. So, and the rest of them, I'll let you guys.
Yeah. Fifth Avenue improvements, part of those are underway right now under construction. They'll be finished, at least the part that's closest to the MCC. That half of the street will be finished when the MCC opens. The rest of the gestures will begin in July, after July 4th, I'm told, and Public Works will finish those by sometime later in the fall. So all of the movements from KBB all the way to Broadway on Fifth Avenue will be complete by the end of this year. BRT, those larger planning gestures, I think would something I can't speak to. They're underway, and recommendations for the Hall of Fame Park. That's at this point a recommendation, and I think the mayor's office is trying to figure out how can that be sort of part of the improvements that don't have to be delayed too long.
Are there other questions?
Just one quick one. The video on the side of on the south side of this building, I understand during hockey season how it would be used. How would it be used outside of that?
Well, the goal is, as we continue to program the campus, I think we're going to see Fifth Avenue close from time to time to make it a little bit more festive. It's something we tried during the playoffs last year on Broadway and Fifth Avenue. I think we're going to try to continue that. So for hockey games, ideally large concerts, festivals, CMA Fest, CMT Awards, CMA Awards, SEC tournaments, Women's Final Four, it'll be used to help program that inside and outside. On non-event times, or 9 a.m. right now, what you'll see are some advertisements. We'll use it as a marquee to bring to life, the events that we're doing. Taylor Swift on sale for the MCC, boat shows coming. Here it is. It'll be wayfinding as well, especially I think the first 6 months of the building and the new parking areas coming online. It's going to be really important to use it just for that purpose.
Are there other questions? Well, this morning we will need to approve a resolution that approving the Bridgestone Arena improvement project plans as prepared and submitted to us by the Convention Center Authority of the Metropolitan Government. We have a resolution that's been prepared by council, and that would be, if we're ready, that would be appropriate to approve that resolution at this time.
Chairman, I'll move adoption of the resolution as presented.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the resolution. Discussion. There being none, let's vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then the resolution is approved. And I've been advised by council that there's one other thing we probably need to do, or we do need to do, and that we need to recommend that Powell's engage consultants for their services. I don't believe we've done that, and we need to approve what they're doing in the use of consultants or engineers, or however you want to refer to that. I hear a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Well, that was the purpose of the meeting, and you all made a great presentation to us, and we're excited about the project and can hardly wait to see its completion. And I know the Music City Center will be glad to see it completed too, and tie all these facilities together in this part of the great city of Nashville. I want to say another thing here. Norma is taking care of our office and has been since Monica started her leave, and she's doing a very good job. And if you need to contact or need to have any information, feel free to call her and she'll connect. And then next week we'll have Toby there to begin his position with us. But Norma, we thank you for the work that you have been doing and continue to do. And I might just mention, I think all of you got the email that Helen had surgery, Helen Walker, and that's probably why she's not with us this morning. And Norma has sent out her address if you'd like to send her a card or have contact with her. Any other business to come before the authority this morning? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you for coming.